Hello, thank you for joining us today on Council Matters. I've called this show Council Matters because under the Municipal Act, all municipal power is exercised only by council and only by resolution. That makes a mayor 1/13 of the equation in Oakville, and our entire council is very attuned to the community. We don't like to do anything the community doesn't want, and this show is set up to demonstrate that. Joining me in the front part of the show is Dave Harris, who's the Executive Director of the Oakville Soccer Club, Joni McPhail, who is the Skating Director for Skate Oakville, and Wayne Hussey, who's the Chief Operating Officer of the Oakville Gymnastics Club. Thank you for joining me. What we want to talk about today is what you are hoping to see achieved in North Park as that big community park gets built out over the next, well, years and years actually, because it's so big. And I'd also like to hear if you have feedback on the existing part of it, particularly in your case, Joni, ways it could be improved. Council really does have a dedication to continuous improvement, and we want people to like the stuff that we build. In the case of the soccer club, we did changes to that in our partnership with the soccer club, and that's, I think, an illustration of that. Wayne, let's start with you. You're bursting at the seams, as I understand it, and need to expand. Can you talk about what your hopes for North Park are?
Definitely. It is a success story that we've had already with our expansion and into the Glen Abbey Rec Center, and we thank the town and yourself and council for that. We had a plan that we had about 3,000 to 5,000 extra square feet that we'd grow into in 3 to 5 years. Well, after month 6, we were bursting at the seams. So our members, for the last 8 years now that we've been there, have been chomping at the bit to look for another facility. So we're really, really pleased that there's some opportunity at 16 Mile Creek, and we've been meeting with the town, discussing not only our needs, but other sport group needs, because we believe in collaboration, we believe in synergy, and I think there's a good way to stretch the dollar when like-minded people get together and try to figure out ways how we can share parts of the facility rather than just go off and be on our own. So our members are really excited. They wish it happened yesterday, but we know these things do take time, having been through it once before. But we have long waiting lists, so we welcome the opportunity to work with the town again and other sport groups in expanding at 16 Mile.
Joni, what about Skate Oakville?
Well, contrary to what people may think, that we would like to see more ice. We could always use more ice. Where our members are really interested is collaboration with the other sport groups and facilities that will enable us to grow our programs off the ice in terms of camps, in training for elite athletes, daytime training, gyms, things like that. So we're really excited about the community center and further recreation facilities, but we'd also like to see the park used all day. I find, and as our members do, we see schools sitting empty at night and recreational facilities sitting empty during the day. So if there was some sort of school and community center where we could use the facilities all day, I think it would ease up facilities in other places and enable elite athletes to train. We have many athletes who are going on to international Olympic competition, and we'd like to see them go right from playground to podium in Oakville.
Mm-hmm. So in North Park, there's a high school plan to be next to it as the area continues to grow. And is that what you're imagining as a synergistic operation across all of that?
Absolutely. And again, with the gymnastics facility perhaps being there, further with the soccer fields, we also have an opportunity not only to utilize these facilities for the athletes, but also to bring events to these places where we can have international and national events that would enhance the whole town's ability to be involved for business and tourism as well. So I hope that in development there's a wide-reaching expansion and opportunity for all sorts of things that could come that way.
Well, you certainly transformed 16 Mile Creek for that ice show, and you know, we were sitting. I didn't even realize you could do what you did in terms of the seating there, it was right at ice level. Yes. I don't know how you did that, and then you had our kids mixed in with national star acts. What a what a hit for a kid to. You know, I was in a show with a star.
It was a great opportunity, and we'd like to see more of that. We have opportunities to bring national and international competitions with television rights and the whole thing to Oakville to expand. So as a club, moving to 16 Mile Sports Centre, we've become the largest skating club in Canada and have held that for the last 3 years. And without that ability to expand, that never would have happened. And our former president, Michael LeBlanc, once that hole went in the ground for 16 Mile, he knew that that was the future of the skating club for us, and he was right.
I like to call Oakville the little town that could, and you're the living proof. Dave, how about the soccer club? What's your vision for the North?
Well, I echo exactly what Wayne and Joni say. Both the infrastructure part of it is crucial, and adding the high school facility, for example, brings a whole bunch of synergies together, because now you have the possibility for training centers for all of the athletes. For example, indoor soccer for us. We go to a number of schools throughout the community, which could be centralized right there for futsal, which brings in other opportunities for us. As well at North Park, it wouldn't simply just be a rep development area, but it gives us the opportunity to do some things that we're trying to do now with the club, which are underserved in the area. We're working with special needs groups, with seniors, with those that might be economically challenged, things of that nature. So all of these ideas can now be put into place with the arrival of something like in North Park. And I think that you're sitting here right now, probably the largest soccer club in North America, amateur, largest skating club in Canada, and I would hazard to say you're the largest gymnastics club.
One of the top.
Pretty good triumvirate at the top for North Park to be sort of a center for excellence for the country.
Yeah, I know when I look at the demographic reports from census, from the 2011 census, we have more families with kids than average. So clearly we're some kind of destination for folks who want to raise their kids in a good community. Now, are you also talking in terms of some kind of joint operating role in the new facility in partnership with the town? How are you thinking about that? How would you split this all up?
Well, we haven't got there yet, but there has been some brief conversations. But I think what people don't understand sometimes is that there is a lot of trade-off with sports. We've had figure skaters train at our club, cheerleaders. We've had people with disabilities because of just the nature of some of the equipment we have. They come in and do rehab in there. So you would think it would be just gymnastics, but it's a lot more than that, and I'm sure the other sports have the same. So the opportunities are endless, and I think we all share the same thoughts about having locations that can actually host major competitions. Most of the sporting federations like to host in our area because it's fairly central, and a lot of the main events have been pushed to the south, the north, the east, the west, but they really like the Oakville area because it's just central, and it makes sense financially for large federations to host. So again, if we had larger facilities and more space and meeting rooms and cafeterias and all those other ancillary services that we don't talk about for just providing services, that would go a long way as well.
I'm a really big fan of the way you operate your own town facility, and ditto for the soccer club. And that's what I was sort of wondering, whether you like that too and you want to do more of it.
I think for us, there are synergies here with everybody, and the fact that everybody gets on so well, first of all, but also Wayne hits on a great point too. We have figure skaters. Gymnasts have been through there. We want to see that nobody's got to close doors, follows the one sport that they focus on only. We want that sort of transfer of different skills to different sports. So for us to work together as a group, I think is crucial in the community, as well as working with the Halton School Board, as well as the town, you've been such tremendous partners since I've been here. I can't believe how good we have it here in Oakville.
Well, we love to see people working together for the good of our kids. My sport was for 12 years the Minor Oaks Hockey Association, and a big thing for us was what we call dry land training, but it's just another word for the kind of synergy that you're describing. And then our kids, a huge portion of our hockey players play soccer and do gymnastics. If you're an athlete at one season, you're an athlete in the other seasons as well. So what's your forecast for your membership growth, Wayne?
Well, we've done some early analysis, and as I said, when we forecasted for the current location we're in, we doubled our numbers within a year and a half. So we went from 800 kids a session to 15. We went from 100 competitive athletes to 250, 260. So we see a growth of about maybe 50% of what we have now. And the waiting list probably covers 30–40% of that already. We have growth all over Oakville, as we know. And the one other point I wanted to mention, because I know my time's probably running out here, but I think it's important that we as business people in sport want to work with the town. We don't expect the town to do everything for us and give us everything. You know, we're happy with the arrangement we have. We run it like a business. We will do our fair share of generating revenue, but we do like the assistance the town gives us with land use so that we can build facilities on it and bring programs to obviously your constituents.
Yeah, I think the partnership spirit in our town is strong. Joni, what's your forecast around membership?
Well, we're going to continue to grow. Our programs, we're seeing skaters stay in skating longer. We're also reaching an adult community, more of the special needs community, and getting creative with our programming, trying to use daytime morning ice when it's available. And we're finding that's becoming really popular with everyone. So we are limited to how big we can grow with the ice time, but we're certainly not capping it at anything. We're looking at all sorts of opportunities and even partnering with the town. We do many camps with the town so that we're collaborating with town facilities and summer camps and things like that to increase enrollment and use.
Well, Dave, now I've heard so many different numbers for your membership, and I imagine it changes every day, but give us a sense of where you're at and where you think you're going.
Well, I can tell you with North Park, we are capacity. There's no question between our adults, our youth, which is House League and Rep. So you've got that as far as that's an every day from September right through until May. Plus, during the day now, we are really capitalizing on youth rugby, youth high school programs, adult programs without the summer. So our capacity on non-peak is really gone up as well. And then that's before you even consider the summer season. So we are in growth mode for sure. But for me, one of the key points I keep discussing with staff is growth also you have to understand with growth, you have to increase your service level, because you just don't grow and just work on that revenue. You have to make sure it's worth the value that the people are putting in, and that's what we're putting out to our membership right now, and they seem very happy. So I believe our board has done an excellent job with this as well, but I think our growth levels right now are getting to an area where we seriously need to start looking.
Well, you have always had a very far-sighted board at the soccer club, and so how many members or kids do you have now? We
register, if you use the entire year, about 16,000.
That's the biggest number yet. And,
yeah.
And what's your forecast for where you're going to go?
We're going. Our rep program is going to go up. I know our adults are going up, and our youth are going up. So all of them now, not trending. We're not. Growth is growth. There's significant growth, and then there's some we have some crawling growth as well, but it's coming. But I know we've had some American soccer clubs I've been speaking to in the last little while, and they're calling us to see, how are you managing this and what kind of programs. That shows me that we're doing some things right.
Is there a need for a second indoor soccer facility like Pine Glen?
We'd really have to do a capacity study to see how many, I've seen this before where people build a secondary facility, but they haven't really thought out what they're putting in there. I would say we would definitely, as Wayne said, we would definitely entertain looking at what that would encompass, but what other pieces to the puzzle that we could also put with that, as Joni said, what kind of training facilities, what kind of ancillary venues we can put as part of that.
Well, thanks a lot for joining me today. You people really symbolize all the other clubs that together with you are our kids and our future. I've been involved with all of you for 8 years, seeing the fabulous work that you do. I hope you'll keep on keeping on. And I want to thank you for watching with us as we canvass the needs of our kids and our sports clubs over the future and our thoughts for how to achieve those. In a second, we'll be back with members of council to talk about how we're going to deal with that, and we'll see just how council matters in this discussion. Thanks for joining us today as we discuss how council matters in the future of sports facilities for our kids in the north part of town as we look at the growth that we're going to experience over the next 20 to 30 years. With me today are Councillor Marc Grant, who is the town councillor for Ward 5, which is the north central part of town, which includes North Park's existing terrific facility and the amazing facilities that are going to go in there. We're also joined by Dave Gittings, who is the town councillor for the southeast part of Oakville, Ward 3, if we go by the numbers, and Councillor Jeff Knoll, who is Oakville's representative for the north central part of town, Ward 5, on both Oakville Council and the Regional Council of Halton. Thanks, guys, for joining me today. You heard what our residents and our sports leaders had to say about North Park and their needs for the future. I was struck by the way their little basic points that maybe we on council don't always hear. Jeff, what was your reaction to what you heard?
Well, pretty much ditto. I totally agree with everything that was said, particularly excited about the public-private partnership opportunities that we've already embraced as a community, but that will be available to us in North Park and the 60 Mile Sports Complex. So I'm very excited to hear the interest and the enthusiasm about the future for that property and the wonderful new services that we'll be able to provide to our community, both as a municipality, but also efficiently through third-party organizations that already have established themselves and achieved great notoriety in our community and our country.
Meaning those very clubs, the soccer club,
and potentially more. So it's a very exciting time to see these opportunities presented to us and have the space and the opportunity of having that land bank, so we're able to take on some of these exciting projects.
And Marc, as the other member of the Ward 5 team, what was your reaction?
I was pleased to hear, mostly for myself, about the synergies. I think that one of the great things about Oakville is we're a community that gathers together and works well together, and it's good to know that as everybody sort of at one time was clamoring for facilities, there's a realization now that they're stronger working together, and I think that just makes it stronger for the youth. It makes it stronger for us when we're making decisions on how to expand facilities. It gives us a chance to sort of look and see, okay, well, this group wants to work with that group, and we can build this that'll serve both needs. And I think that's great. I'm pleased to see that they're doing so well. I'm excited to see as 60 Mile Creek expands. Hopefully, we can get. We don't have any representatives from the aquatics group, but we're doing quite well with the aquatics leagues right now, and I'd like to see that worked out a bit further. And the great thing too is that as we are sort of helping out and accommodating the needs of all these individual groups, we're now embracing sort of some of the newer sports or older sports, I guess, like cricket, which we're hoping to get up in North Park at some point. There's a growing cricket movement in Oakville, and it'll be fun to see that kind of expand as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to 3-day games myself. Dave, from your vantage point, what was your reaction to what we heard?
Great to hear the feedback. We have incredible resources in terms of land, in terms of finances, and in terms of committed people that are willing to work on behalf of the town and for our youth in terms of putting the programs together. Pretty encouraging.
Now, I know because I hear from them, that there are some residents who always get anxious when they hear us talk about building things for the community. And not everybody's aware that although we increased community facilities by 70% over the last 8 years, we added 800,000 square feet. At the same time, we drove down the annual tax increase year after year. The average property tax levy increased 7% a year on average before the last 8 years. 5% was our achievement in the first 4 of the last 8 years, and in this 4 years we're down to below 3% for the levy. The tax increase for 2014 was 0.7%, which was the smallest in, I don't know, 15, 16 years, a very long time anyway. So you would join me in reassuring residents that we're going to achieve all the additional facilities without departing from the tax path that we're on, right?
Well, I think that's one of the hallmarks we've been able to achieve. The combination of utilizing, of course, the development charges that we're collecting in the northern development areas, but also leveraging our partnerships with our community organizations also helps achieve that, because when we're providing those facilities and those services, we're actually seeing revenue come in to offset some of those costs. It becomes very cost effective for the end user and very, very cost effective for the taxpayer. The one thing I wanted to mention, though, that maybe something we've not touched on as much. We've talked a lot today, and the previous panel talked a lot about the structured sporting opportunities and recreation opportunities. One of the things that I hear a lot from my constituents is they're looking for more unstructured play and recreation opportunities, and I know that that's in the agenda as well. We're looking at a BMX track, we're looking at skateboard parks, and those sorts of things that people can just pick up the kids, go up and have a good time as a family, not necessarily have to register in advance and participate. And while the organized activities are phenomenal and wonderful and highly valued by our community, I'm really excited as well by the new opportunities that we're going to create in those unstructured play and recreation opportunities in North Park. I'm really looking forward to that. I know our constituents are chomping at the bit for those opportunities.
Mark, have you heard from moms like I have about just talking about those unstructured play areas, trying to space them out more? The anxiety that I'm hearing from moms of younger kids is they would like to be able to give the younger kids a place where they can't be sort of pushed out by the older kids. Are you hearing that from your residents?
I don't hear that the younger kids are being pushed out. I do hear more that we're looking for facilities that kids don't have to go far away from home for. I mean, places where they can cross the street and not cross a major intersection. I know that one of the things I've been hearing a lot from residents is Jeff, certainly more splash pads, more facilities. But as far as older and younger kids, I think really the younger kids grow strong in the unstructured field, and then as they get older, they move on to the more structured programs, and it sort of allows for everybody to live happily together. I'd also like to point out, as far as unstructured play, you know, we are talking about North Park, but there is Memorial Park, which is a project coming up in Ward 5, up near Oak Park, and that's going to be a beautiful area where people can just throw down a blanket and picnic, throw a frisbee, and you know, enjoy family life. So that'll be lovely to see coming along too.
So Dave, how about you? You're out in the community a lot, and I've been struck by the way public school student parents are saying to me that the older kids, high school kids and even older, are sometimes making it unwelcome or even scary for their kids to push in and participate in the skate parks, and they're looking for either dual facilities or, I don't know, supervision. What's coming to you from that direction?
Number of comments come to mind. Unstructured play, whether it be a pickup game of baseball or soccer or playing tag or walking through the trails or riding, it's great to see. We have a community rink that's looked after by the members around Wallace Park and Tuxedo Park, and constantly impressed, and feedback from the parents in terms of when young guys and gals come out to play hockey or skate, the older ones embrace and welcome them and want them on their team. So while I do hear the concerns, I'm impressed every day in terms of the inclusive nature. We're always going to have issues, but overall I'm pretty impressed.
Sure, my experience playing shinny with my kids is that all ages of kids will come and join a shinny game, and the older kids will actually play down to the lower kids level. And that's why I was a little bit concerned when I heard that in skateboarding it might not be quite that nice.
Well, I'm hoping that's the exception to the rule, because a few years back, you'll recall, at the Glen Abbey skate park, we had heard from a number of the older kids that they actually, you know, saw the young kids come out, and the kids would be like, how do you do that? And you'd have like the older kids showing them how to do, you know, quick flips on the board, and I'm hoping that that's the exception to the rule where they're being pushed out, because I really do think that we have a community that embraces all ages.
I think part of it too is, I think it's simply a matter of overcrowding in some cases. Some of our unstructured play areas, our playgrounds and such, are just at or above capacity now, and so what happens is you get the clash of sheer numbers, and it may seem like the big kids are pushing out the little kids, but I think it's just a matter of sheer numbers. In terms of the skateboard park, again, it's a situation where I think the more we build, the more opportunities we provide, the more opportunities it will be for everybody, because we've had such a period of time where we've had so few facilities of this nature that now that they're coming online, and I think we've been doing a fairly good job, and our staff have been doing a terrific job of bringing them on board. I think the fact is that now we're seeing the demand, and we're not able to fully meet that demand up to this point, and so that's one of the reasons why facilities like North Park need to come online as soon as we can potentially possibly do it.
It's been a fun time to be on council, rolling out facilities for people.
Awesome. Yeah.
And when I visit the facilities, I see all the happy people. It's the best part of being mayor. It's probably a pretty good part of being councillor.
It's pretty darn good.
Well, I want to thank you for everything that you've done and for the conversations that we've had today. And I hope that parents and others in our community are now better aware of how much council matters in making sure that the needs of our community are met. I also hope everybody understands that council never really wants to do anything that the residents don't want. That's why we work so hard to consult so much and make sure that what we do is what you need and want. Thanks very much for joining us, and I hope you'll join us next time that we discuss what council matters.